We've been dealing with an issue out on stage where players are intermittently losing audio from their coaches. So in order to keep things moving as fast as possible, we'll be conducting the draft from the player rooms where everyone can speak without headsets. So that is why we're going to be doing the draft off stage, so to speak.
Going into game 2, it would be insane to see a 0-2 start from Cloud9 going into the split.
Especially against Dignitas, where we talked about how they have not been able to beat C9 since 2017.
They haven't won a series since the beginning of the year.
Yeah. So, like, this not only would be a massive upset in the context of just split 3 for these teams, but it would be a massive upset just in the terms of, like, both teams over years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think C9's draft was they're just saying we're better players, we're going to stomp you in lane, and then we're going to win the game, right?
Yeah.
And they had created more than enough of an advantage to win regardless of comp. So I do think, like, at a certain point, it was just player error. Like, we saw realm warp after realm warp after realm warp that were just like monster ints, right? Including the final fight with Thanatos. So, you know, I don't think they should read too much into what happened with draft, but I also think if I'm C9's coaches, I think I'm going simple. I think I'm going standard. I'm just going to play something that is easy to play front to back. Draft a strong lane for Thanatos. Like, they're playing last pick, so get counter pick for Thanatos. You have Thanatos versus Denathor, who is a rookie. You know, play something that has multiple forms of engage. Pretty easy. And I think you just have to rely on the fact that your players should be better pound for pound.
Yeah. One note I do want to bring up as people are seeing the draft, this is NA. If you're wondering why you're seeing NA test, they are still drafting in order, but it's just to basically expedite the draft process. So when they go out on stage, they can just draft under their own names. But if you're wondering why you are seeing that, that is why they're still drafting in their order. And we see the Viktor locked in for Dignitas. Could be going mid. I actually think it's going bot for FBI. And then on the flip side, we see the Ziggs Nautilus locked in. Presumably, I'm going to say for tactical.
Yeah. And we're seeing some psychopathic supports that are going to be roaming around the map. I think when you went through your presentation earlier today, and you're talking about the fact that supports have catch-up XP, this is the one thing I definitely want changed. So you can talk about your opinions when it comes to mage bot lanes and AD carries and all that stuff, whatever you want. I think the fact that you were seeing supports moving around level 1, level 2, level 3, unperturbed and unpunished is the one thing that pisses me off. So, like, we will see the Nautilus and of course, Leona probably pretty active.
I actually really like Trundle here a lot. I mean, Trundle is both a really good matchup in his Xin Zhao. It's very difficult for Xin to actually do anything. You charge in, Trundle can just pillar you in and win the man fight head up. And also, you can steal a lot of resistances from Leona, you know, with the W, especially if Leona's playing, you know, Aftershock. That can be pretty devastating. It dissuades some of the strong blind pick tanks as well. If you're thinking you're going to counter pick for Thanatos, some of the best blind picks are tanks, which you're going to be less likely to want to play because the Trundle's in the game. So I feel like it's a really good pick for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah, I like the Trundle a lot. Interesting to see that C9, they still aren't completely sure where the Viktor is going, so they're still taking out the Sivir. Yeah, and then on the flip side,
even with the heavy nerfs the Varus has had, I would still take Varus out. Because if I'm Dignitas, I think it would be nice to actually have Varus within this comp and deal with the range advantage that you have versus like a comp like Trundle. And sure, Ziggs would be an issue, but I'm generally pretty happy trying to switch away from the composition and deal with like more range with Viktor Varus and dealing with Trundle. I think that's like a nice response.
The Vayne ban to me says that they're thinking about playing Renekton because obviously Ignar's already gone. That's one of the matchups that really can be quite difficult. And then you know, the other one that's commonly played into Pro is obviously Renekton, and then things like Sion. So could be either of those angles, but I don't think you're thinking about Sion when Trundle's already in. So Vayne to me is just kind of setting up for a safer blind pick. And we'll see if they want to do like double bans top to try to really protect. And so they're actually going to ban the Renekton as well.
Wow.
So now I'm kind of like, okay, are you going Sion or something then?
Yeah.
But you're opting into Sion against Trundle, which is never great. So I'm kind of curious to see if that's going to be the angle that they actually want to go for.
Another pick that's available suspiciously is the Rumble. And I don't think you want to pick Rumble into Ambessa. But the Ambessa now being locked in for Thanatos, one of his best picks So I'm interested now. It seems like there's a lot of comfort from C9 side, which makes sense being down a game, wanting to be able to find something to secure a win.
Yeah, I mean, it is strong. Renekton's the common answer. And the fact that Renekton is banned kind of lets them go this, and then also lets them find out, is it going to be Viktor bot or mid? It is going to be Viktor bot. Akali is mid. So now they get to have, you know, a pretty strong pick top, and they get to have counter pick mid. So it does make some sense.
Yeah, I mean, I will say we have seen all 3 of these champions flex bot. But I agree. I do think it's going to be Viktor bot, Akali mid, as we see the final.
And it's interesting because if there's Sylas, so it's going to be Loki Sylas pick. This is going to be so fun watching the Akali versus Sylas matchup, and specifically, I think watching Palafox's Akali, especially when he sees the Ziggs, this is something that he oftentimes will look towards and finding assassin options versus control mages and try and play sides. So I'm expecting Dignitas is trying to play Xin Zhao, Akali on side, see if they can catch either Sylas or Ziggs, basically. I think it's a nice composition from Dignitas that plays to their strengths.
Yeah, Sylas feels pretty strong here, though. There's a lot of good ults to steal. Leona ult's really good. Viktor ult's good. Like, even Akali and Crescent Guard aren't bad. I feel like still Trundle seems like a giga pick, and I feel like C9 has pretty easy ways to start fights and to play sides. You have Ziggs for wave clear mid, obviously to match the Viktor, and Ambessa plus Trundle I feel like beats any 2v2 really that Dig has.
Yeah, they've done the exact.
I kind of like C9's comp more.
I vastly prefer C9's comp.
Yeah, even though I talked about comfort, it's like they did the exact opposite of what I wanted.
They're going to be comfortably losing.
It's like, I would like range. No, we're committing to the dive. Akali, Aatrox, Xin Zhao, Leona. So like, maybe they'll be able to find options on Ambessa on side or anything like that. But I think C9 is going to be really happy playing a 5v5 grouped up.
Yeah, I mean, I just also think, like, as we covered with mages in the bot lane at the very start of the day, I think it's Ziggs, like, Giga S tier, and then a lot of the other mages, like, behind him, just because I also think that AD carry players, like this, when I was talking about, APA, if APA was in, he and Tactical can play picks, I think Tactical can play Ziggs, right? And this is exactly what I was thinking of previously. Yeah. And I also really love the Sylas pick here. Like, I think that's just such a great last pick into what Dig have prioritized in their draft.
I mean, we were looking at both comps are 4 melee champions plus a mage, right? I think Viktor is just way easier to get on than the Ziggs is with Satchel and with the additional range. So I think we prefer the C9 side of it. Casters, what do you think?
Thank you very much, Lounge. I feel like we were having a very similar conversation right now because there's just a lot that C9 has to counter the melee-heavy champs on Dig.
Absolutely. I also think Tactical is a good Ziggs. I've seen him play it really well. He was playing this in 2021 before mage bots were a thing when TL wanted to play towards top side. So also love the Trundle into the Leona and the Xin. And then if I'm thinking about how Dig wins with Palafox playing, quote, selfishly, I don't love the things that he's up against. Like, maybe he can find some kills on his Ziggs, but if Loki gets ahead on Sylas or Thanatos gets ahead on Ambessa, I think it's going to be real tricky.
Right, exactly. You don't have AD carry plus control mage mid to try to find those reliable assassinations on. So Palafox's job will be more difficult than usual. As you guys can see, players on the stage now still having to do these two-part type of drafts. So we'll be getting onto the Rift ASAP. But I feel like the big thing, we got to talk about it. Everybody in the discussion threads talking about it. People in the Twitch chat are talking about it. We're talking about it. Cloud9 should have won the first game. I am not going to take anything away from Dignitas for being able to stay focused and coordinated enough to punish the mistakes that C9 made and come back. But by God, not all mistakes are created equally, and C9 chained them together back to back to back to back to back, and they were all named Realm Warp. The team has to have that type of conversation behind the scenes and say, no more of this. I want to see whatever C9's communication was in game number 1. I don't ever want to see another word of it ever again, because that was not correct League of Legends.
No. I don't think that was the plan either. I kind of refuse to think it was the plan, especially in that last fight. And I know they went over it. The Lounge went over it with the replay file. Thanatos stopping inside the Realm Warp that then takes him into 5 players as a level 20 really fed Corki to instantly die. When they have Ocean Soul and they can just slow play it and can try to continue poking.
Yeah, just poke.
completely acknowledge as well, like the rapid fire cannon Twisted Fate, very difficult to deal with when you don't have tanks.
Yeah.
But they were far ahead in that game, and then Realm Warp after Realm Warp put them further from winning. So that's going to increase the pressure on Cloud9 because it's all well and easy to say that it's just the regular season and we're looking to improve, but especially for Loki and Tactical, who are still in the tryout phase for C9. They are still running the 7-man roster, and they've lost all 3 games, and they really expected to. I think you expect to walk over Dignitas.
Yeah. That's the huge part for me is because, you're saying, it's just regular season or whatever. Remember, regular season is a single round robin. You play each other team once. And if the expectation when you're going up against Dig is that everybody has these guys power ranked bottom 2, if you're one of the teams that's expected to go to Worlds, which I think a lot of people probably expect C9 to, at bare minimum, be in the contest for Worlds, then you should have your scheduled win against Dignitas. And if that turns into a loss, you already pointed it out earlier, C9 lost their first regular season series in almost a year and a half just this past weekend against Team Liquid, and Dignitas has not won a series against anyone in the LCS since the beginning of February back in lock-in. So this would be quite the upset here in terms of North American League of Legends if Dignitas could clutch this up. Now remember, so far, Game 1 has gone very similarly to Game 1 of last week, where Sentinels was winning for a very long time. Dignitas managed to come back, and they get the Game 1 dub. Then they lose the next 2 games. Game 1 kind of went exactly the same way for Dig, and now they have to change their fates and do what they have not been able to do all throughout spring. Take that momentum from getting a lead in the series and finish strong.
Let's see if they can do it. We got triple TP on both sides. Going to be a lot of teleports coming in throughout this game. Last game, Vulcan on the Camille was out of lane constantly, whereas FBI and Ignar were slowly getting fairly small advantages. Now, we got a couple of roamers on both sides, and I feel like that's more what Ignar actually wants to do. Like, Ignar winning on Melio is very surprising. He's normally the guy that doesn't win on the Enchanters, so he's more in his comfort zone here.
Plus, you want to hop in the time machine for a second? Go back about a decade. Ignar, Fervor of Battle, Leona. This man is one of the original Chad Leona players. He knows this champion. He has a special relationship with this champion in competitive play, unleashing strategies that other people were not ready for at the time. So we'll see how well he can do it this time. You mentioned both of these guys are playmakers. They can set things up with their heavy CC. Neither one of them has quite the mobility of Camille, being able to hook shot all around the map. So I don't expect either one to be quite as active and constantly on the move as Vulcan was in the first game, but I do expect them to both try to be making those moves, especially with the, I always call this the Worlds 2022 matchup in mid lane, Akali versus Sylas. It was the meta during that entire competition. It was the head-to-head that you saw all the time, and it can get very volatile very quickly. Both melee champions, both of them can be punished if they go too far. Both of them prime targets for these support roams.
They absolutely are. Thanatos already also getting some shove in onto Denathor in the top lane. Even though he wasn't impactful in the later fights, Thanatos was wildly far ahead of Denathor from the laning phase, just couldn't translate it, and Denathor was able to get some really good Meganars and Ignar ultimates off in team fights.
And I feel like that's a really interesting thing to talk about with Denathor specifically, because the individual gold lead for Thanatos was massive in that game. Plus like, what, 3,000, 4,000, something similar to that. But for Denathor, a guy who at the beginning of the day here, you were talking about his nerves in week 1 were so engaged, I guess we'll call them, that he accidentally made the wrong purchases. Hold on, here in the bottom lane, we got Vulcan taking a little bit of damage, but he's leading the charge at the same time. As soon as Blaber shows up, FBI is troll food, and Blaber is taking the first blood.
And they give the kill over to Blaber as well. They had kind of any option to give it to Tactical or Blaber, but he made the journey there. Let's reward the jungle for coming here. All started with a perfect backward satchel charge by Tactical. So nicely done here by Vulcan and Tactical to get the first kill in the bottom.
Yep, and Ignar does a good job of holding the wave outside of the turret there so FBI can get everything. But what I was saying is just Denathor, from going from week 1 buying 2 of the same item because of nerves to now in week 2, you're 3,000 gold down individually and you're still able to find those clutch plays, those Meganars that you're talking about that really did turn some of those reversal fights all the way in Dignitas' favor. I really like to see that out of a rookie.
You really do. So very well played there. Blaber is going to be hard to deal with on the Trundle here. If he gets too far ahead of the pace of this game into 4 melees, I really feel like he's going to be able to take over as Ignar roams out, looking for Loki.
Ooh, Ignar with the flash. Zenith Blade finds his target on the Cloud9 mid laner, but Loki with the flash away, and Vulcan right behind him does escape to safety. Summoner spell now down.
Palafox, I think, needs to have a very good game if Dignitas is winning this one. I mean, honestly, just because I don't like the draft, it's like anyone needs to get just exceptionally fed, and maybe they'll have a chance to carry.
Okay.
It's not like the Akali specific thing. If Aatrox gets really fed, he'll be important. If Palafox or if FBI gets very fed on the Viktor, he's still good against the melee champions. I do think it's going to be a fairly binary game in that way, because you have so many melees on both sides. Whichever team gets ahead is just going to snowball.
I just feel like, particularly for Palafox and eXyu's champions, what they want to do and the tools that normally allow them to do that are pretty solidly nullified by a lot of what C9 does. Akali's smoke is generally weaker against AoE, and there's so much AoE on the side of C9 to just bombard that area as soon as Palafox tries to find safety. eXyu's Crescent Guard also is great to protect him from long-range attacks. It's going to protect him from Ziggs. Everybody else is inside the Crescent Guard when they're doing damage. He is not going to nullify the Cloud9 onslaught.
He is here in top lane, though. Thanatos hits 6. eXyu's here.
Okay, Thanatos with the flash away already. eXyu with the wind becomes lightning, but Thanatos does avoid the pressure as we get ourselves a pause. We've received word that Vulcan paused the game. He says his mouse is teleporting around the screen.
That's a good reason.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably something that you've got to make sure you've got resolved. Able to make an impact on things. And it looks like we do have everything resolved. League Ops did confirm that Vulcan's mouse had a problem with it, but they were able to plug it in directly, and now it is working A-OK. So back to live. The other thing that we haven't really talked about yet that I always pay attention to whenever Sylas is in the game is what can Sylas steal? Because this champion's value is far different depending on what type of ultimates he has. Yeah. And I feel like Xin ultimate is normally very strong. Loki's got to try to get away here. Did steal away the perfect execution. Palafox goes in for the 5-point strike. I don't even have time to say what Loki's options are before Palafox buries him.
Palafox takes him down. Loki stole the Akali ultimate there to try and outplay him a little bit, but Palafox lands everything. A good solo kill, so gets the early electrocute, R1. Loki lands his E2 away, tries to use the first half of the Akali ult, and then didn't have time for the cooldown for R2 before he could escape. Palafox gets him.
I really, really like that from Palafox. The sun's still shining, my friend. Off to a good start here in the mid lane.
We're in a heat wave. Palafox summer.
Vulcan, quick damage onto FBI there, but Ignar tries to turn it right back around onto Tactical. Vulcan eating even more damage as he's caught in the very edge of the gravity field. Vulcan flashing away, staying safe for now. Tactical with the Mega Inferno Bomb unlocked, but eXyu's making his way down to the bottom lane here at the same time. Tactical grabs the kill. eXyu moving forward. FBI's got to be careful. Blaber is also here. eXyu with the flash over the wall. Wind becomes lightning as FBI continues his escape, but he's caught by Loki. Now eXyu wants to get all the way out. Blaber keeps chasing him, but the turret is going to make sure that Dignitas' jungler stays alive.
Yeah, bait there at the end by Tactical, presenting himself as the target with level 6. Ignar goes back in, but then kind of everyone on C9 descends. So Vulcan and Tactical consistently getting the better of these trades. Beautiful hook by Vulcan. They're right in front of the minion wave as Ignar tries to go in for the extended trade. They had a level advantage on the supports. Ends up not mattering that much, but I mean, just this bait right here with Loki and Blaber coming down on this re-engage by Ignar. He's always going to die to the level 6 Ziggs, and then no one can actually make it all the way away, so it ends up being a 2-for-1 because of the Sylas roam.
Yep, and then you can see Blaber wanted to try to cut off eXyu. He even commits the subjugate there to try to burn the Xin down, make him vulnerable enough. But eXyu can still get enough distance to get himself away, so a slight gold lead here early on for Cloud9. Dignitas' 1 point of individual advantage is Palafox here on that Akali. Level 6s now acquired for both of our bottom lane control mages, as the first Drake did go over to the C9 side earlier on, and we do have the grubs now spawned on the map. Remember, that was a bit of a scuffle in game number 1. Dignitas ultimately coming out on top in that one, earning themselves all 3 grubs, but C9 has their bottom lane duo as well as Blaber hanging out in this topside river.
Man, very early healing reduction purchased by Palafox is going to be good in the Sylas matchup to prevent him from healing, but then just also really good against Trundle. Overall, Trundle heals so much if they want a chance of killing him later on in the game.
All right, eXyu starts up the grubs. General strategy applies here. If you get enough time to just burn one of them down with your general kit without a smite, okay, never mind. We're just going to smite that one down instead. Take it away, leave, and allow C9 to potentially take the other two. Nice crescent guard there. Going to protect them from the Mega Inferno Bomb coming out from Tactical as FBI tries to move forward here with the Arcane Storm, but eXyu's already been killed by Thanatos, who's made his way down into the fight. Denathor wants to try to heal up in the middle of everybody, but Palafox assassinates Tactical on the very back end of things near the enemy chickens. Now Thanatos in a 1v3, but he's got backup coming in behind him. Denathor with the Q2 over the wall. Vulcan tries to get away. He's down to 50 HP, but Vulcan survives. Thanatos chases FBI as the stolen solar flare hits like an orbital laser, and Denathor is erased. C9 with a 5-3 kill advantage as Dignitas barely misses out on one.
What an interesting fight right there. eXyu lived for so long at the start of it, and then I'd say Palafox kind of abandoned the team. He went to Narnia to pick up that first kill on his own Akali, and it left the rest of the team in a 3 versus 4. We'll see how that pays out for him, because he did secure the kill for himself if he wants to snowball the rest of the game. But I think it ultimately could have turned the fight in Dignitas' favor if he was with the rest of the team.
Yeah, we'll take another look at it once we get to the replay. Dignitas does end up taking 2 out of 3 grubs once the dust settles, so they will come out slightly triumphant in that count. 30 seconds until our next Drake spawns. It was about 5.5 minutes into the game that the first one was taken, so very, very quick first take there from C9. As you can see right now, they do have control over that bot side river still. Blaber going to go ahead and take a recall as mid lane Palafox, again, just has to be careful whenever Vulcan is roaming around the area. Blaber did purchase Trinity Force. This is a massive power spike before the second dragon.
Big power on the Trundle. Can also just ult the Leona. If you wait until the W is active on Leona, you steal all the bonus resists, which is my favorite thing to do, especially if there was an Aftershock user, which he is, which is kind of surprising. A lot of times you see a spellbook on the Leona in these cases.
Yeah, if he has Eclipse and Aftershock active at the same time and Trundle ults him, by the time Aftershock and Eclipse wear off, he'll end up in like negative overall resistance value. Definitely not a fun place to be for a champion that's got to be on the front lines. As Ignar with a Hex Flash forward. Not going to find anything here immediately as the Infernal Drake has already been secured by Blaber. Palafox in some danger, hiding in the smoke for now. eXyu's going to be targeted by that Trundle. Vulcan very low on HP as they try to fly in and grab a kill, but no, it's Palafox down already. eXyu's about to die second. C9's already got 2 kills, and they want to make it more. FBI trying to get himself away. Tactical still on the chase. Minefield won't find a slow. Gravity Field protects the Viktor a little bit longer, but C9, they'll grab the objective. They'll grab 2 kills. They'll grab themselves a 2,000 gold lead.
And I think they're starting to snowball this one just a little bit. Blaber did fall there, but not before taking a bite out of Palafox. Watch how close this timing actually is. So Palafox flies in, lands his E, and then he's going to be going for the execute onto Blaber, as Blaber just cues him right in the face. So he's very low, but then actually finds this nice angle, R1E. So he wants to activate the E and then R, and Blaber just bites him as he flies through. Then we'll get some extra healing from his passive, which keeps him alive a little bit longer before Viktor ult takes him down. And another just kind of small win for C9, but the all add up.
Oh, and now we have a potential another win up here for C9, but everybody on Dignitas also showing up to the party. A 3v3 as C9 backs away, injured solo laners, but it's Dig singing the same song. Nobody dies up here in this battle. Meanwhile, it's C9 that has pressure elsewhere on the Rift as Tactical is taking plates over in the mid lane. Remember, it's so easy to get so much money so quickly when you have Ziggs on the team. Just get the turrets low enough, blow them away with the satchel, and it can be a very, very swift affair to make sure that the map is much more open than Dignitas would like it to be.
Yeah, Tactical got that Blackfire Torch very early on at about 10 minutes. Pretty effective Ziggs game so far. I don't know if they're going to be able to get a bunch of mid-prio like Viktor versus Ziggs. It's just a wave clear fest as the supports continue to move away, but I still expect him to get a lot of good damage out in team fights.
All right, Dignitas. Last game also got away from him very far, but this is a very different situation. Like you were saying in game number 1, the Realm Warps felt desperate and goofy because of the fact that you're up against Rapid Fire Twisted Fate and nobody can really afford to get gold carded. Dignitas felt like they had a compositional advantage there. Meanwhile, here in the second game, most of what we've been talking about is, yeah, eXyu and Palafox's defensive tools are not strong against the Cloud9 composition, and so it just feels like champions like the Trundle, like the Ambessa, and Ziggs just peeling for himself are very good against Dig. So I feel like it's kind of more difficult for Dignitas to find their way back in once they get significantly behind.
I agree. They have the double Sundered Sky on their melee frontliners, which they're hoping are able to kind of brawl with all the melees, get a lot of different individual healing procs, but I just feel like there's more sustained melee damage from the Trundle Ambessa, and especially with Loki having the 3 kills.
Ooh, Denathor's gonna walk right into the brush there. Thanatos alone won't be able to kill him. But Vulcan coming down here can certainly put a little pressure onto the health bar. Denathor's Q3 not going to hit Vulcan with the sweet spot. Denathor losing about 40% health in the exchange. Ignar shows his face here on the top side brush. Loki's just going to go ahead and step back. eXyu also making his way up towards the top side. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Denathor going to be forced away yet again. Blaber, Thanatos. Ignar's also coming down. Thanatos goes in for the dive here with the public execution. Denathor low, and he cannot survive long enough. Now, FBI and Palafox both showing up here at the same time as Thanatos will die. Make it a 1-for-1 so far. Blaber trying to get himself away. Nautilus ulti for the defense. Means that Palafox has to retreat all the way back. So it's a 1-for-1 trade on kills. But C9 get multiple teleports out of Dignitas as well as taking the turret for themselves.
That's the big investment when you try and pull off one of those double TP plays. When 2 people teleport on the same target, even though there is a restart of the teleport animation, it's very hard to read, so you usually surprise people with it, but they still lose the turret, lose the 1-for-1, and now Loki trying to make something special happen.
Yeah, they want to make this play work, but the problem is right here, Loki is able to go in and grab the kill on Palafox. This is what I was seeing the entire time. He has the stolen perfect execution. Loki's still staying alive for now, too. Does finally get shut down by FBI. But you can see, even when Ignar initially went in, Palafox had to stand to the side. He's like, dude, I don't have the health. I can't go in here. They needed FBI, and Loki still makes it a 1-for-1.
Well, also especially because Palafox built the healing reduction early, still doesn't have his first legendary item, just making him that much weaker. Meanwhile, Loki with the scaling Doran's Helm and the Proto Belt and the upgraded Merc Treads really just sustaining against the 2 magic damage dealers that are trying to get him. Now the Gunblade is finally completed for Palafox, but big plays there by Loki.
Yeah, Loki coming out good on that one. I feel like he's got a little bit of redemption to earn for himself here in the second game after the Realm Warps in game number 1. 4-2-1 so far on the Sylas. Looking good as Dignitas will begin the Rift Herald. They've almost got the Rift Herald ended already, so they can secure that one for themselves. So Dignitas winning the top half of the map neutrals, Cloud9 winning both of the dragons so far, and wouldn't you know it, the 3rd Drake of the game is live now just 16 minutes in. If C9 gets this one, it's a very early soul point, and this is going to cause a lot of problems for Dignitas if you're having to answer every dragon from 20 minutes onwards.
It absolutely will, especially with the over-reliance on melee champions. Like, how do you move in to take space? They don't have waves pushed. They can't necessarily get into the river. And if Ignar tries to go in, he gets deleted by the Trundle ult.
Exactly. How are you supposed to walk up into a river controlled by a Cloud9 that has Trundle and Ziggs? You get pillared, you get the entire Ziggs kit thrown at you. All of a sudden, the best thing you can do is hobble back to base, hoping you're still alive.
They might try and take the Herald in, but it seems ambitious.
Battle Herald summoned up. eXyu ready to drive it.
Turn.
Oh, and it just immediately hits a big old stinking traffic cone. Nice job there from C9 as Thanatos jumps into the back line, going for everybody. Potential flash away coming out from Vulcan, but a nice solar flare locks him up. It's already a 1-for-0 going the way of Dignitas, but they got to be careful. Ignar's going to be taken out here as Tactical tries to flash over the wall, but he does die. Loki under pressure. eXyu finding plenty of damage onto that one. Thanatos and Blaber still looking to fight here with the 2v3. Thanatos is low, but Denathor's not finding the damage he needs just yet. Q3 with a flash finds the sweet spot as FBI kites and fights Blaber, trying to get enough distance here with the power siphon. Denathor coming up, the World Ender. He gets the Q1, he gets the Q2, and he saves FBI. C9, they may have got themselves soul point, but Dignitas wins the fight.
It's a delayed ace by Dignitas. Let's see how they make this one work. So a lot of resources burned early, actually. So pillar down, that will prevent them from being able to stuff the re-engage. And I just see Palafox getting a lot of backline access here. First off, Ignar doesn't get instantly one-shot, which allows Dignitas to turn. Perfect headshot on Vulcan from the Leona ultimate, and then Palafox actually being able to finish off Tactical here. Look at that damage. He was 75% health. Flashes as the auto's already started, so he finishes him off. And then potentially target selection here by C9. Thanatos and Blaber split. Blaber can't actually get this kill onto FBI by the end of it, and then falls himself with Denathor landing everything onto Blaber, and FBI just dancing on him with the extra move speed.
Jesus Christ.
I'm the Diggs. I mean, the Victor
I'm the
King.
Ziggs. You're the Ziggs?
Victor King.
All right, by the way,
Victor
Victor King. He's the Victor King. Victor King. Don't worry. His name's Victor. It's all good.
Yeah, it's all good. But hey, man, Big Dig is still in it. It's a 1,500 gold lead for C9. It is sole point for C9, but 1,500 gold, I feel like 19 minutes into the game, you're like, okay, yeah, we're ahead, but it doesn't really mean a whole lot usually, right? On average, it's like 400 gold per player. It's not super impactful. The big thing is going to be, like we were talking about before the Drake, Cloud9 did get it. So Dig has to answer every dragon from here on out, or it's Hex Tech Soul going over to C9, which, when we're already talking about melee compositions, melee heavy comps, constantly dealing with the slow from the Hex proc is obnoxious.
It would be a very difficult game for Dig to win if they give this over. And we have a big fight here. FBI's way up.
Yeah, FBI getting himself away with a Chovy belt, though, as Blaber and Thanatos still trying to push forward. eXyu surviving once more with a Crescent Guard. Gets himself away, so Dignitas managed to disengage this one. Even though it means C9 has control over the Rift for now, there's nothing to really control.
Yeah, very interesting. So some of the expectations we had coming into this game is that if C9 got ahead, they'd be able to snowball, because a lot of times we think Ignar goes in, they just Trundle ult him, they can burst him down. That actually hasn't happened in many of these fights. Ignar bought a lot of time with his locket and heal and somehow has managed to maneuver around the subjugate. And then the second one would be the fact that Palafox has actually been able to get access to tactical has been really important, because all that Ziggs AoE damage not actually being able to land onto the triple melee has been huge. And then that allows FBI to be the mage carry with the sustained damage to take down all the melees.
And that's what we were talking about with our concerns of the Dignitas draft early on in the game anyway, is it's like, okay, you're Akali. The enemy mid laner is not something that you can really assassinate. They don't have a squishy support. The main target you're going after is this long-range mage on the Ziggs. So Palafox's target access, I agree, man, it is absolutely where it needs to be if Dignitas want to be able to bring this one back. C9 still up, 2,500 gold. Denathor is your target. Tries to get over the wall here with the humble dash, staying alive for now, but Loki jumps over and follows him. Denathor is already down. Dignitas trapped in a 4v5. Make it a 3v5 almost. No, not quite. Ignar gets away underneath the tier 2 turret. C9 will be happy to find that pick on the enemy top laner, but what can they get from it? The thing is, all 5 ultimates were spent for that. So if you try to start up the Baron, something along those lines, you do have Dignitas still ready to try to answer. Is this Vulcan's mouse again?
It might be.
Focusing on right now is C9 resetting their position and getting ready to play from a spot of priority around this upcoming Dragon Soul. Hex Soul is so huge in this game.
Watch this bot wave. Loki's first to it. He's going to be pushing it out. C9 is going to be getting first setup in this area. Their ultimates will be back on time. Loki's ult is back up. Tacticals is going to be back up in time. I even think Subjugate from Blaber will be up in time. I think Dig is going to try and get mid-prio here. If FBI has his third core item here, he's resetting right now, can teleport back into it. They need to throw everything into this fight. So if it's time to buy elixirs, do it now. They need to win this Drake.
Well, FBI doesn't have the fully completed items, sadly, but he does at least get the ashes to throw in there, so a little bit of extra dot power. Immediately Vulcan going in for a big burst of damage. Palafox is dead! Oh, the soul fight is over before it even begins. Stolen solar flare coming out from Loki finds its way onto Ignar. C9 with a 5v4 man advantage. Denathor can't get anything off to the side. Palafox in the wrong place at the wrong time, immediately punished. C9 are loving this.
That's the worst thing that could happen. The reason they were able to win some of these other fights was Palafox getting access to tactical. Just getting hooked and one-shot before this makes this Drake uncontestable.
That might just be the hero play of the game from Vulcan, grabbing Palafox right before the Hex Soul spawns. Now a 4,000 gold lead, plus the extra, at least that much value in combat power from the Soul itself. I know this is dangerous to say after game 1. C9 should win from here.
Well, that's what we said last game, as you said?
Yep.
There's a few streaks as well that are on the line right here. So the last series win for Dignitas 174 days ago. They could win this game and break it. C9's streak was broken yesterday, or sorry, last week against TL. As Loki, he might just win this.
Yeah, Loki stays alive long enough with his drain tanking, and now he's got the backup coming in. A little bit more damage might be able to take him out, and yes, Dignitas at least secure the kill, but now they got to be careful because Thanatos is making his way down to the bottom lane as well. Vulcan right behind him. Denathor will be left to the Wolves as it ultimately settles with a 1-for-1 trade down here in the bot lane bloodbath brawl as the mid lane tier 1 turret is removed from the rift. On the Cloud9 side, 2-2 in turrets overall. Honestly, not a whole lot of map pressure in the lanes from either team after 24 minutes of play.
No, the improvements that C9 wanted to make from last week to this week, I would imagine they're only partially checked.
We're going.
I'm going.
Fighting bot.
Yeah.
Fighting bot.
We're looking bot. Yeah.
I'm going from left side.
They're here. I can make time.
Fighting.
Coming.
Can you guys run? Can you guys run?
Yeah, I'm coming.
They have 2 flash.
I can still make
Yeah, no,
time.
Yeah, I'm coming, Loki.
Does that don't flash?
Yeah,
I can
hold
hold
my
my but yeah, we should
Yeah, we win.
Yeah,
coming up. Akali top.
Xin Zhao
Korea
no
has
flash.
TP soon though. Korea has TP soon, semi size.
I'm still looking, guys.
Yeah.
Long my position.
Jack's already dead.
They just skip.
Hey.
Nice escape at the end by Dig, to be completely honest. That headshot by Ignar on the solar flare to stop Thanatos from being able to make it through did prevent C9 from winning out on that play, because C9 just ultimately sent more people bot lane for the 1-for-1, and Dig was able to collect more gold on the rest of the map.
Yep, we could see at the very end of the replay as well, Thanatos' public execution. He used it, but wasn't able to find a target, so that extra distance, very important there for Dignitas overall, as focus now on the top side of the map. No Elder Drake spawning for 3.5 minutes, so Baron is really where everybody's attention is at. Leandri's Torment is fully completed now for FBI on the Viktor, but he is the only one on his team at a 3 full item power spike. Palafox still struggling a bit here on the Akali. Yes, he's got his fully upgraded quest boots, but only a Hextech Gunblade, so still trying to get that second item fully completed. There it is. Shadow Flame comes online. You're welcome for the caster curse. Palafox got to get the extra money in the pocket on that one, as we still have the 2-item power spikes in both top and jungle. Important to note that Blaber on the other side is 3 fully completed items on his Trundle. This Trundle is a problem. You were praising how good this fits into the composition against what Dignitas has drafted at the start of this game. Blaber is the richest man on the Rift, and he is such an issue for Dignitas to try to fight through. Trundle is one of the most ball of stats champion in League of Legends. 3 of his abilities just give him more stats, right? The last one is a big stinky pillar. That's what you have. True. You have a big stinking rock and 3 things that give you stats. This guy is so difficult to fight through for a melee heavy team.
He's the most LoL Classic champ that still exists in Modern League.
Yeah.
I feel like he's been like mildly updated, but he's pretty much the same. They're going to start up Baron here and dare them to walk into Blaber's wall of stats.
All right, well, Ignar's the one to find himself on the wrong side of the stink pillar. He flashes over to stay alive. Meanwhile, topside, Loki versus Palafox. Favoring Loki for now, does have the 1 level advantage over Palafox on the Akali. Palafox trying to zip and zap back and forth. Tries to get away from Loki, does survive for now, but the Sylas coming out on top in that one for sure, as both top laners make their way over. Nice sidestep there from Denathor to not get caught by the public execution. C9 still with control over the enemy blue buff jungle and over the top side river.
It's funny how I bring up League Classic and you see kind of the most anti-League Classic there is Sylas and Akali are just dashing 72 times past each other. It ends up meaning pretty much nothing. Loki was definitely stronger there, so Palafox kind of wins by just absorbing the ultimates, and Baron still not being taken.
I did like how in the trailer for League Classic, the champions that they used to display Zillion's distress at not recognizing the League of Legends that he knew was like Cassante and Zoe and everything that has essentially been like a copy pasta champ over the course of the last multiple years.
Not quite the era of League Classic as well. Dignitas, if they come back in this, trying to do something that they haven't done since 2017 summer playoffs. So it's been 3,000. That's your mouse fault.
It's that damn mouse again, isn't it?
I'll get through this.
Semis in Worlds 2022,
yeah.
when Zeka was in his, it was the Sylas Akali meta, and he was just winning both sides of the matchup against everybody constantly. And just the top lane fight happened around the exact same spot on the map that one did. And Zeka just beats Scout, barely takes any damage. And in the replay, earlier on in the game, you could see Scout being like, oh, I just barely lost the 1v1. He was kind of laughing it off. That one was the one where you could see the despair on his face because he was like, damn, dude, he's really just better. I can't keep up anymore.
There's nothing I can do at this stage. Hexol helps that also. Seeker's Arm Guard. to be able to make more time if he gets caught in the side lane again. But we've made it all the way to Elder. Honestly, the Hex Soul didn't advance the game very much for C9. They took no Barons. They got maybe 1 or 2 kills. Now we are here for a potential Elder flip. Now, last time we built up a Drake fight, Palafox got hooked in 1 shot.
Right.
Let's hope we see more of a battle this time.
Let's see what we get.
Uh-oh.
C9 has Guardian Angel on Thanatos here as well. They've got that Seekers, like you already said, there on Loki. Ignar gets caught by the Dredge line. C9, however, do not want to engage on enemy Leona. Guardian Angel also available on eXyu, but there's no get out of jail free card for anybody else on the Dignitas side. C9 going in, a little bit of burst of damage here into Ignar and eXyu both. Down to half HP on those frontliners. Dignitas also losing half the health on Denathor, as well as the Crescent Guard on eXyu. Public Execution does not find a target thanks to the flash from Dignitas. Solar Flare only gets a slow, no stun to be found. Dredge line lollipops and pulls Ignar back. Blaber takes a bite out of him. Now FBI's got to be careful. Depth charge onto the enemy carry, and he's already down. Blaber goes on a killing spree. Palafox into the back line, but he only dies. Dignitas is absolutely crushed. Ignar will be the only one to get away. eXyu loses his Guardian Angel for nothing, and with only Leona left alive with 35 seconds on the nearest respawning Dignitas player, the Elder Dragon is not required. C9's gonna march it down bot.
Beautiful patience by C9 in that fight, knowing that the Hex Soul poke from Ziggs was just going to be immaculate. They just whittled them down and engaged at the right timing. C9 is not going to get swept by Dignitas today.
C9's going to bring us to a 3rd game, and for Dignitas, it's shades of week 1. A tough game 1 that they make the comeback in. Then in game number 2, they cannot keep up. It's C9 tying us up, taking us to game 3.
Can't be too excited after that one for C9. They were hoping, I believe, to have a 2-0, but that doesn't really matter as long as they win the game 3. Spam chat now to tell us who you think the player of the game is.